Frankie Russo, straight out of Brooklyn. What's going on, y'all? How's everything? Crazy day again. Damn, I didn't get my... Where's my disclaimer? Don't tell me I moved my disclaimer. But anyway, I guess we won't show it today. I think I moved it. I don't know where I put it. Okay, I got my disclaimer. Outside looking in. Papers, judges' decisions, peer-reviewed journal articles, and open source, well-researched open source articles. No congressional oversight committees, no International Atomic Energy Agency, no Joint Chiefs of Staff, no National Security Council. We do not have access to classified documents, nor do we know someone who does. So we are basically looking for quote unquote statistical significance. In all likelihood, in all probability, what do we believe to be? That's what we search for. We search for statistical significance, and we look and we attempt to arrive to a responsible conclusion. Inferences, what can we infer from the data, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we roll over here. There is a method, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, good. So, sorry, I think I put it in my other papers, Scope Live at, after the show, I go Skype on my iPad, and we're taking live calls. We're getting ready to do, hopefully by next week, I'll be doing going to be really cool. The broadcast is going to be hot. We're going, oh goodness gracious. So there it is. So there it is. Sorry. So we'll see, because that's what we're doing. Okay, so we're gonna cut right to the data, and then we're gonna move. All right. So, former Russian parliamentarian, Putin critic shot dead. So we're gonna watch this story, see if what's going on. This is in Moscow Times. Russian parliamentarian and Putin critic shot dead. So we're going to find out what's going on with this. We're going to give it a like we're doing with the surveillance situation. We're going to let the data come out. That's one. And we got this headline here. Well, we'll show that in a minute. That we'll tie that in with this. And then we got Turkey's. This is Wall Street Journal. Turkey's referendum could backfire on Erdogan. Only a campaign is in sight less than a month before the April 16th referendum that will give Turkey's President Erdogan vast new powers. Building size billboards feature a giant likeness of Erdogan, urging the nation to vote yes. So basically, government officials brand those opposing this executive presidency plan as traitors and supporters of terrorism. Finding any evidence of no campaign can be mission impossible. Basically, yet despite such a charged environment, the referendum victory for Erdogan looks surprisingly uncertain. Opinion polls keep showing he's the president of Turkey. Opinion polls keep showing a nation starkly divided along the middle, with a significant part of Erdogan's own Justice and Development Party, or AKP, electorate balking at the idea of scrapping Turkey's tradition of parliamentary democracy. Crazy. So I believe what we're looking at here may be that coup d'etat that they claimed to had happened with the cleric being from Pennsylvania. Maybe that was a fake one. We'll find out. We're going to find out. Maybe that coup d'etat in Turkey with Erdogan claiming it was this cleric in Pennsylvania planning this coup d'etat on him was fake. We'll see. Maybe. Okay, Fox News reporting potential smoking gun showing Obama administration spied on Trump team. Potential smoking gun. Now, you can say what you want about Fox News. I think Fox News is the fairest, and they have cats like Hannity and there are Trumpocrats that broadcast, and there are the Shepard Smiths. So, and they try to be. I think Bill O'Reilly's arguably the best TV broadcaster on television, quite frankly. He's a media mogul, and he writes books, turns them into movies, and his reporting is, he tries to be as fair as he can with Trump, which we do appreciate. So that's what's going on with that. And basically, the Republican congressional investigators expect a potential smoking gun establishing that the Obama administration spied on the Trump transition team and possibly the president-elect himself will be produced to the House Intelligence Committee this week, a source told Fox News. Classified intelligence showing incidental collection of Trump team communications purportedly seen by committee chairman Devin Nunes of California, described by him in vague terms at a bombshell news conference, came from multiple sources. Capitol Hill sources told Fox News. The intelligence corroborated information about surveillance of the Trump team that was known to Nunes. Sources said even before Trump accused his predecessor of having wiretapped him in a series of non-infamous tweets posted on March 4th. So we'll see what happens here. On this kind of stuff, the Russo show, Frankie Russo, takes a wait and see. I don't have access to any kind of data to say to try to make or to look for some sort of statistical significance. I just let the data come out, and then we draw our conclusions. So that's the Fox News. So we'll see. Okay. Healthcare vote canceled after GOP leaders failed to win support. Office of Management Budget Director Mick Mulvaney. I love this guy. He's a tough dude. NBC News. I like Mick Mulvaney. He was giving them hell at the press conference. Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney made clear that President DT is done negotiating on the hotly debated healthcare bill and wants a vote on Friday. And if the president doesn't get a vote to repeal and replace Obamacare, he will move on to the other priorities, Mulvaney said, according to a source in the room during tense talks with GOP leaders. These GOP leaders, I'm telling you, I mean, my biggest thing with this whole thing is the individual mandate. There's the CBO says that it's out. Ryan says it's out, and then Rand Paul claiming that it's hidden in the tax aspect of this bill. That to me is the issue for me. The subsidies and the insurance. I mean, I can really at this point, the individual mandate is the big thing for me. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and partition and tell you I can partition this thing off and taxes and subsidies. I haven't read all these big bills. So, that to me, the individual mandate is the deal breaker for me. But it was always the deal breaker. Okay. So we're going to wait and see on this one. We'll see what happens. This is the NBC. And then we're tying in. I'm going to tie this into this. We had this terrorist strikes in the Westminster, UK, the bridge in Westminster in the UK. Look at this. Look at this. This is crazy. New York Post. Look at this. I'm sick and tired of politicians coming before us and telling us, with, don't be afraid. This is not our values. Are you freaking kidding me? I am tired of it. And they're trying to tie DT's hands on this pause on Muslim migration from 7 countries. It is astounding what this mainstream media and these lefty Democrats and established Republicans, yes, are purporting. So, insanity, right? So we're going to take this a little further, and I'm going to get into the minutia. No, I'm not going to get into the minutia on who the. I want a little more stuff come out tomorrow. I'm going to come out on more on that attack in West. Oh, here's the name. The name is here, but the attack in Westminster. I know it was in the heart of London, but I want to get the exact. I think it's on in a bridge, if I'm not mistaken. Westminster Bridge. Here's some more bodies all over within seconds. Sick of this, man. I'm sick of this. And these politicians, I'm tired of this, man. I am so done. You have no idea. That's why I talk about this. To me, this is the biggest problem we have besides the economic situation. This is the biggest problem we have. And, so that's why I'm like, to me, this is like, forget it. So here, the Daily Mail. Now, this is not, this is not well put together. It's not, the reputation of the Daily Mail is not, this is not the Wall Street Journal, okay? However, they're claiming, and we're going to, because the reason why I pulled this, so we're gonna look at this and see what else comes out on it in the next few days. The Daily Mail, jihadi terror manuals on how to use a car as a tool of war for mass murder can be found in just 2 minutes on Google and Twitter. Daily Mail. I got this off Drudge. DrudgeReport.com. The Daily Mail. Right? So fanatics are urged to use cars before going on stabbing rampage. Video revealed after Khalid Mashoud was in this Westminster rampage yesterday in the UK. Manuals told jihadists in West to learn from Palestinian terrorists who used cars. News came as Boris Johnson accused social media sites of inciting terrorism. Guides to mounting a car terror attack was available on Google and Twitter last night. Google and Twitter. The vile manuals were online despite widespread warnings that UK jihadists atrocity in Westminster. Boris Johnson accused social media websites of inciting terrorism. And Google's YouTube video platform was found to be raking in money from conspiracy theories, saying that the London outrage was a hoax. Believe this? As the maniac behind the attack was unmasked, 52-year-old Khalid Massoud, the security services faced questions because he was known to police and M15. The Home Security Amber Rudd denied failures but admitted one got through. It emerged MPs had raised questions about the common gates Massoud waltzed through. Officials revealed that he was shot dead by a ministerial bodyguard rather than by armed police. And ISIS claimed Massoud was a soldier. Officers made 8 arrests around the country, and the rumor now is floating around that the police wasn't armed. The police in this area it was some sort of no-gun zone or something like that. I don't know for sure. But the rumor that's flying around, so we're going to wait for more data to come out on this. This is insanity, right? I'm sick of these politicians standing in front of us telling us, you know, these are our values. Don't be afraid. Get on with your life. I am so done with these politicians. Thank God we got Donald Trump, and I believe Donald Trump is going to continue to fight. And with the border, with the Homeland Security, you got General John Kelly in there, and he's going to work on getting this pause on Muslim migration from these 6 or 7 countries. This is insanity. Now, just to add a little more debate to this, this guy, Paul Sperry, writes for the New York Post. He's a tremendous investigative reporter, and he writes about various aspects because he's an expert on jihad, on global jihad, on Homeland Security, and he has this article. He wrote this article last year, "Why the Lone Wolf Terrorist is a Myth." So I'm gonna bring this in. You know, this is the Chattanooga shooter. This is Saeed Farouk from San Bernardino. Wait, no, this is Omar Mateen from Orlando, and this is Saeed Farouk from San Bernardino. Okay, but we don't have an Islam problem here. Of course not. President Obama says, "Don't worry. The Orlando terrorist was just another lone actor, operating in isolation, unconnected to any larger group of supporters. In fact, these so-called lone wolves are running in packs, and suggesting otherwise gives the false sense of security." Yet, Obama's Homeland Security Secretary Johnson echoed Obama, saying Omar Mateen, he's the Orlando shooter, was self-radicalized without any religious, ideological, or operational support from friends, family, and others in Muslim community. What we do know at this point is it appears this is a case of self-radicalization. He doesn't appear to have been any part of any group. Allah Akbar, right? A more accurate picture is that Mateen, an Afghan American whose father was a supporter of, if I'm not mistaken, his father was a supporter of the Afghan Taliban, was part of a disturbingly large Muslim family of sympathizers, supporters, and even co-conspirators, right? For starters, his wife could face, and she was arrested, if I'm not mistaken, his wife could face criminal charges in the attack on the Orlando nightclub, the deadliest act of terrorism in the United States since Noor Salman, got to look that up when I'm live on Scope, who wedded Mateen in 2011, reportedly told the FBI she knew about her husband's planned attack, even drove him to the site of the massacre as part of a scouting operation. Really? She also said to have helped him case the Disney Spring shopping complex. What's more, Salem allegedly was with Mateen when he bought ammo and a holster used in the attack. Yeah. Prosecutors have convened a grand jury to present evidence against Omar Mateen's wife, Salman, a Palestinian American. Why am I not shocked? It appears the seeds of Mateen's hatred were planted at home. His Afghan immigrant father, who founded a non-for-profit group to support the Taliban. Mia Mateen, his father, posted on the web. He expressed his gratitude toward the Afghan Taliban, and he calls these jihadists warrior brothers, to say the least. And he claims that he seemed to rationalize the targeting, pointing out his son was offended by the way his father. He's claiming his father has a big problem. They were talking because apparently the Orlando bar was a gay bar, and this happened last year. And claiming that they're going to stone. He felt that he feels that the homosexual should be. This is the logic behind these radical Islamists and their perpetrators and the people that support them. They feel the same way they do. So these are the sympathizers. They just don't pull the trigger. So he feels like that the homosexuals should be stoned, and his son, they feel that God will punish them, and this archaic way of looking, a purview of the world. And it's unfortunate, but this is what we're dealing with. Okay. Now, to move this a step further, San Bernardino. Terrorist Said Farouk's father shared his hatred for Jews and even knew his son followed ISIS, while his mother lived with him and his accomplice wife in their bomb factory they called home. A member of an extremist Pakistani front group, investigators found targets and GoPro camera packaging in Mom Rafia's Farouk's car. Both parents were placed on a federal terrorist watch list. Meanwhile, his sister took target practice with him. Most recently, the FBI arrested Farouk's brother, sister-in-law, and another relative on terrorism and immigration fraud. Saeed Farouk, Omar Matin, that's like I said, this is the San Bernardino shooter, this is the Orlando shooter, and this is the Chattanooga shooter. This guy killed 4 to 5 Marines in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, this was a no-gun zone over there. So there it is. So these are just some of the examples of this myth that these are lone wolves. I mean, I have a hard time believing that's the case, but that's who I am. So we're gonna look at this England thing, because Europe is infested with these radical Islamists. And I'm sick and tired of listening this Prime Minister May and what she had to say about these radical Islamists. And then when Obama used to talk about these are not our values, and there's infrastructure there. So these radical Islamists are not getting to these politicians, so they can have this laissez-faire attitude on how all these things lay out. Because basically, I believe this is too much of a cavalier attitude. More concerned about the population and backlash on the Muslims, and less concerned about getting the radicalism, less concerned about actually trying to figure out how do we know who's the peaceful Muslims and who's the Muslims, the radical Islamist sympathizers. Because we have a good idea, I think in America, we have a good idea on who these radical Islamists are. The problem with Islam is the radical Islamist sympathizers. Very hard to figure out who they are. It's like the shooting yesterday in Westminster, the way it's reported by Telegraph in the UK, the publication, claiming that they were cheering. Guarantee you, the people that were cheering, they were from probably the UK. The Islamists were in the UK cheering, and that's why they reported it from the UK. But they didn't say that they were cheering in the UK. I'm telling you, there's something not right over here. There's something fishy in Denmark. I'm telling you. And this is why I go to this all the time. I go to this all the time. And I'm going to go here again until I get this whole thing pinned down. We're not going to stop here. I don't care, people, what everybody says. We're statistically significant. And these are the headlines. And I'm going to finish with this. What time is it? Okay, I'm going to finish. I got 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm going to finish with this. And I started with this yesterday. Back to the Sudan. So here's where we're at, okay? Russia appears to be helping out the Taliban. One headline. Libya, Russia's new frontier. Wow. Maybe that's the reason why Obama coup d'etat Gaddafi. Ties between Russia and Taliban worry Afghanistan. Knowing Afghanistan and Iran border. I'm in the process of purchasing a world map, and we're gonna get in deep. General Soleimani, Iran's architect of Russian operations in Syria. How Iranian General Soleimani plotted out Syrian assault in Moscow. So here is the headlines of what we're looking at, right? So this all goes to that argument of, so what we're looking to show here is the Russian-Iranian alliance, because that ties in for us, like we discussed all along, the material support board that we put together at 77 WABC. This is the Obama timeline: money, weapons, training, and human assets. The Obama-Clinton crime family materially supporting radical Islamists. 5 Afghan Taliban released, payoff Iran. Bergdahl trade, Afghan Taliban, payoff Iran. It goes all the way to the Iranian city of Sahad. 150 million back to Iran. OPEC, 3 million barrels of oil per day. 1.7 billion unmarked bills to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. We read that Andrew McCarthy article with the National Review. Cash for Jihad program, Obama's Cash for Jihad program. Who gets the payoff? Iran, right? And also, so Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps actually gets cash. Cash. Yeah. According to Andrew McCarthy, Blind Sheik's prosecutor, $33.6 billion was sent to Iran. Cash. Something like that. Close to it. A lot of money. According to Andrew McCarthy, Blind Sheik prosecutor, I'm not saying they got $33.6 billion in cash, but they got a lot of money in cash. I have to qualify that. That being said, according to the Blind Sheik's prosecutor, Andrew McCarthy, it makes up 8% of Iran's GDP. So go figure, right? But Trump is the Russian agent. 400 million monthly payment to Iran for negotiations of bribe. This was a Wall Street Journal article. Who gets the payoff? Iran. A lot of money to the Palestinian Authority, Hamas. 88 senators sent a letter to Obama. Why are we sending this money to Hamas? Palestinian Authority, Hamas. They're terrorists. How do we know that they're not going to use this money for terrorism? That they're going to use this money for humanitarian aid? Of course, they're going to use the money for terrorism. Who gets the payoff? Iran. Egypt's Morsi, 1.5 billion. I don't know how much he got, but he got a lot of money. He got a jet fighter or two. He's only there for about a year. He's in jail for espionage with Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. The Egyptian prosecutors have claimed that Muslim Brotherhood is a foreign terrorist organization. Who gets the payoff? Iran. Syria, $315 billion annually from Iran. Obama said money, weapons, and human assets to fight ISIS. So not to fire on Assad. So we know that 3 to 15 billion is going to Syria. General Soleimani, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, is running the war in Syria. Who are we defending? Who were we defending with the Syrian rebels who ended up giving their weapons to ISIS? Who were we defending? Because Obama made them sign a letter not to fire at Assad, according to Chuck Hagel in Congressional Oversight Committee hearings. We're defending Iran. Who gets the payoff? Iran. Benghazi, Iranian Quds Force plus Hezbollah cover-up. It wasn't Ansar al-Sharia, it wasn't Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. This Benghazi thing, according to Kenneth Tillerman, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, The Obama-Clinton crime family was covering up for the Iranian Quds Force plus Hezbollah that did the unfortunate hit on Benghazi, that killed the 4 Americans. Who gets the payoff? Iran. North Korea missile technology to Iran. Obama team knows that happened, but the Obama negotiating team for the nuke deal, for the Iranian nuke deal, negotiated the deal anyway. Who gets the payoff? Iran. And Obama approves airliners to Iran using, according to United States Senator Perdue and Danny Donan, the Israeli representative, U.S. airliners to smuggle weapons to Hezbollah. Who gets the payoff? Iran. So we have all of these things going on the Obama-Clinton timeline, and people come to me with a straight face telling me that Trump is the Russian agent. Who's the real Russian agent? Who's the real Russian agent? The Obama-Clinton crime family. Now, I talk about it a lot. I talked about it briefly yesterday, and I'm not going to go into it today, but we're beginning to believe here at the Frankie Russo show, which was out of 77 WABC, out of the Garden. Now we're straight out of Brooklyn, that we believe that Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon might be Iranian colonies. So we're going to look at that very closely, and I'm going to come out with some data next week as I get through, because I want to get through this I want to get through the Sudan data from this case. I want to get through this because this is good stuff. Okay, this is the Sudan case. I want to get through this case. This is a good situation. Not good. I mean, it's good. It's good. Now I got this off of investigativeproject.com. Investigativeproject.org/cases. James Owens versus Republic of Sudan. This is a real deal, Holyfield. We believe this data is statistically significant. Okay. Now, page 8. I'm going to start here. Okay. In Khartoum, because they're going to bring members in Sudan, this is the testimony of. Oh, okay. Because I'm going off in the middle. I wasn't able to read this yesterday. So this guy Al Fadal provided testimony for the United States government during the criminal trial of bin Laden. Okay. He recalled that when Al Qaeda considered moving from Afghanistan to Sudan, initially questions were raised among the Al Qaeda leadership over whether Hassan al-Turabi's ruling National Islamic Front Party in Sudan would make a suitable and appropriate ally. Now, just to give you an idea, this Al Fadal was interviewed and vetted those who sought to travel with Al Qaeda to Sudan. So he went through this whole thing. Oh, so because I read this, I'm just trying to see where we're going to leave off. Okay, here's where we left off. So we left off with Al Fadal, who's the guy who's became a U.S. government informant. He testified that he personally witnessed senior Al Qaeda commanders Salam al-Masuri, Safran al-Islam al-Masuri, and al-Adel and Abu al-Sudani supervising training courses in explosives being offered in Sudan. I'm assuming Damazin. I'm assuming that's Sudan. Terrorism expert Evan Coleman explained that the government of Sudan had encouraged Al Qaeda to move for several reasons. The government envisioned that Sudan would become the new haven for the Islamic revolutionary thought and would serve as a base not just for Al Qaeda but for Islamic revolutionaries of every stripe and size. Now, this is one of the reasons why. You see that kid? That's the clock boy, and that's Omar al-Bashir. What's up with that? I'm going to show you a picture Now, I'm not saying that means anything, but we're going to find out there's something not right over here. We got Malik Obama on a Dawah Islamic Council, which is a non-for-profit organization, with Omar al-Bashir. That's Obama's half brother. And it's my understanding, according to the data we're reading from this case, that's why I'm going to get my world map. Sudan borders Kenya. So we'll see what this all means. I don't know. We're going to see where it takes us. So Al-Qaeda's presence allowed Sudan to gain leverage against its antagonistic neighbor, Egypt. Interesting. Yeah, because it's interesting because I was reading some data from the open source and claiming that Egypt is supporting the opposition party to Omar al-Bashir, and Turkey, who I talked about earlier in this presentation, Turkey talks highly of Omar al-Bashir of Sudan. Crazy, right? So through the use of these groups that were opposed to the Egyptian government and to gain resources from its partnership with the groups, especially bin Laden, who is rumored to be very wealthy. Okay, this is where we ended off, right? Sudan invited Palestinian Hamas movement, right? We talked about this, right? Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which I think that's where the blind sheep came from. Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, Egyptian Islamic Jihad, Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. That's the group that supposedly coup d'etat Gaddafi, and it goes on and on and on. So now, here we go. So we got bin Laden's presence in Sudan in partnership with Sudan was openly touted by the Sudanese government, including television broadcasts of bin Laden in the company of both al-Turabi and Omar al-Bashir. The United States monitored this alliance throughout the 90s. The State Department's 1991 Patterns of Global Terrorism report detailed Sudan's growing connection with terrorist organizations. This is in the 90s. So in the past years, Sudan has enhanced its relations with international terrorist groups, including Abu Nidal organization. Sudan maintains its ties with state sponsors of terrorism, such as Libya, Iraq, and has improved relations with Iran. The National Islamic Front, under the leadership of Hassan al-Turabi, has intensified its domination of the government of Sudanese President General al-Bashir, and has been the main advocate of closer relations with radical groups and their sponsors. So this is going to be interesting because I wonder where Obama was in the 90s. 91, 92. I wonder. Despite several warnings to cease supporting radical extremists, the Sudanese government continued to harbor international terrorist groups in Sudan. Through the National Islamic Front, which dominates the Sudanese government, Sudan maintained a disturbing relationship with a wide range of Islamic extremists: Palestinian Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Lebanese Hezbollah. So it's going on and on, right? Even after Sudan expelled bin Laden in 96, Al-Qaeda operatives remained in Sudan. A declassified CIA report in 97 indicated that Sudan's support for terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda, despite the considerable international pressure prompting the expulsion of bin Laden, despite some positive steps over the past year, Khartoum, which was where al-Bashir is from in Sudan, has sent mixed signals about cutting its terrorist ties and has taken only tactical steps. The U.S. State Department's 97 Patterns of Global Terrorism report detailed Sudan's continued support for terrorist organizations. Sudan in 97 continued to serve as a haven, meeting place, and training hub for a number of international terrorist organizations, and hence the evidence strongly supports the conclusion that Sudan harbored and provided sanctuary to terrorists and their operational and logistical supply network leading up to the 1998 terrorist attacks on U.S. embassies. As explained earlier, Sudan also provided critical financial, military, and intelligence services that facilitated and enabled Al Qaeda to strengthen its terrorist network and infiltrate nearby countries. Al Qaeda set up a number of businesses and charities in Khartoum, Sudan, to finance its terrorist organizations and provide employment and cover for its operatives. The government of Sudan also provided passports and Sudanese citizenship for Al Qaeda operatives, and the Sudanese military intelligence service coordinated with Al Qaeda operatives frequently, providing protection for Al Qaeda and sharing resources, information, and coordinate attacks on their mutual enemies. Now, financial support. This is going to get good. This is going to get good. 10, 11. Government military support. Support from Sudan's services. Sudan. Okay, good. So this is going to get good. So we already said this. Oh, this is what we read. Okay. Wait. So, and what we're also going to explore, we got bin Laden there. And I found out in a few articles that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, around the time al-Bashir was, they, according to the two articles I read, Omar al-Bashir, they aided Omar al-Bashir in his coup d'etat because he did it in the late 80s, early 90s, the coup d'etat, where he took over this, I was told, the southern part of Sudan. So we're going to get that tie-in. So we got bin Laden over there. We got Al Qaeda. We got all these radical Islamists over there in the 90s. We got the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps over there. So we're going to see where this takes us. I'm very interested. Sudanese government support was critical to the success of the 1998 embassy bombings. The presence, the safe haven that Al Qaeda had in Sudan was absolutely integral for its capability of launching operations not just in Kenya, but in Somalia, in Eritrea, and in Libya. So we're going to see, where is this going to take us? Where was Bama all this time? They're claiming he's from Kenya. I don't know. I don't believe that the Hawaii narrative. I mean, all these other theories, there's pros and cons for each of them. Where was Bama in the 90s? Was he in Sudan? Does he know Omar al-Bashir? Was he in Kenya? Does he know Omar al-Bashir? His brother is on Malik Obama. His half-brother is on the Dawa Islamic Council, who's the executive director is? Omar al-Bashir. What does that mean? I don't know, but we're going to find out. The clock boy is taking a picture. This Omar al-Bashir is notorious. ICC, International Criminal Courts, wanted by the National Counter-Terrorism Center website, $4 to $10 million, Omar al-Bashir. And the clock boy is taking a picture with him. What is this? I'm going to get the Malik Obama stuff next week. What is this about? Bin Laden is over there at some point. It's my understanding the blind sheik was over there before he came here. I don't know. We got these ornery players. Where was Bama? Was Bama there in the 90s? Kenya is not too far away from Sudan. I don't know. We know Bin Laden was there. Omar Bashir was there. Hassan al-Turabi was there. We know that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps was there. Was Obama there? Was Obama's brother there? So early 90s, according to these court papers, Bin Laden had to leave in 96. Obama had to leave in 90. Bin Laden had to leave in 96. So Obama was United States Senator in 2008. I'm not sure because I don't believe his narrative and his timeline of everything. So I don't know. So we're gonna get down to the bottom of this. We're gonna see if there's anything here. Because this picture just drives me crazy. When I see this, it drives me crazy. We know the clock boy was fake. This guy is taking a picture with Omar al-Bashir, notoriously crucifies Christians and kills Jews, puts Jews in ovens, and crucifies Christians. Omar al-Bashir. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna find out. That's the reason why I'm going there. So the government support. This is page 11. That's what we're going to end off at, page 11. Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda also invested in Sudanese banks. This access to the formal banking system was useful for laundering money. So this is where now the relationships are established. Facilitating other financial institutions that stabilized and ultimately enlarged Bin Laden's presence in Sudan. For example, Bin Laden invested $50 million in the Sudan's Al-Shamal Islamic Bank. These funds were used to finance Al-Qaeda operations. Al-Shamal Islamic Bank was known for financing terrorist organizations, and Bin Laden remained a leading investor of the bank long after he was expelled from Sudan. The commercial enterprise served as Al-Qaeda's ultimate goal of organizing jihad against the United States and the West. Dr. Vidino testified in this case. During its time in Sudan, Al-Qaeda grew into a sophisticated operation. I'm telling you, these operations are not like they're sophisticated organizations. IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Iranian Quds Force, and Hezbollah, very sophisticated. Several key figures and organizations portrayed Al-Qaeda at the time as a multinational corporation complete with a financial committee, investments, worldwide operations, and well-organized concealed accounts. These activities were clearly facilitated by the Sudanese government, complicit banks, customs exceptions, tax privileges, and more generally full support by the Sudanese government allowed Bin Laden's commercial activities to flourish. But money has never been Bin Laden's highest aspiration. He used his newfound advantageous position to solidify his organization, Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda's commercial activities were to be used simply as a tool for the more important goal of building a stronger Al-Qaeda, not to generate profits. So we can continue. I should get this trial. During the 2001 trial of Bin Laden, Jamal al-Fadal, the former high-ranking Al-Qaeda member from Sudan, testified that the letter served to publicly verify Al-Qaeda's extrajudicial status in Sudan. There's something about Sudan that they're not telling us. Because Obama, before he left, I'm going to get that article too for tomorrow. Obama, before he left, was lifting, or maybe he might have lifted the sanctions against Sudan. Because Sudan, Syria, and Iran are the world state sponsor of terror, according to the National Counterterrorism Center website. So we're going to see. I'm going to stop here because I really want to finish this. I'm on material support. I think I got 12 pages. I want to see how far this goes. I'm going to go look at the case more before we finish. I want to see what else we can get out of this before I want to see what's going on with Malik Obama. I want to see what's going on in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. So we got this picture here with Omar Bashir. I'm going to share tomorrow some information. Preliminary. I'm not saying it means anything. We're trying to put it together. Malik Obama on this Darwar, and I'm pretty certain they use Al Shamal Bank in Sudan, and I think Shobat, the PLO reformed PLO terrorist, is now a big Christian. I think he has the data to support the bank accounts at Al Shamal, maybe. So that's the financials of what ties this whole thing together. And then we got Malik Obama, the clock boy, Omar al-Bashir. I don't know what is going on here. It's the Frankie Russo show. I'm going to continue tomorrow. We ain't stopping. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to try to get on early, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Frankie Russo show. I'm about to go scope live in about 2 minutes. See you in the future.